Good morning, Los Angeles. Good evening, way back in Dubai, where our friends Thomas and Naushad live. Thomas, welcome. You're the producer of Jallikattu, and Naushad Salahudin, you're the executive producer, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
That's right. Thank you.
Yes.
So thank you so much for being with us today. We're very excited to have this Q&A with you guys, and congratulations on the movie and good luck for the Oscars and the Golden Globe. And we are really proud to show this movie on our platform. And I personally really love the movie. So I will let now Rick Ambrose, who's going to do the Q&A, I will let him take over. And thank you again and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So yeah, welcome Thomas and Naushad. It's very exciting to have you here to talk about Lijo Jose Pellissery's incredible film Jallikattu, which is a wild ride. It's a cinematography masterpiece with incredible pacing, and it's also very unsettling, in the messages that it delivers. But as George was saying, it's a really unique film, something that we haven't seen before. So I'm very excited that you've made this long journey, and India decided to submit this great film to Oscars here. So congratulations again. And how did you both get involved with the project to begin with?
So myself and Thomas, actually, we are based out of Dubai. We have our separate business. We are not actually movie business people. We are not a studio. We are just two people who are passionate about movies. So Thomas actually had met Lijo, and he had this story told to him. And Thomas came back to us and then said, why don't we actually try and do something with Lijo? And Lijo then had, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead, sorry.
So Lijo had everything thought out, completely planned everything. He was looking for the right partners to actually execute it. And luckily for us, we were there at the right time, the right moment.
And it's based on a short story, correct?
Yes.
That's correct. It's based on a short story by Mr. Hareesh. He is also one of the scriptwriters for the movie. He's also the winner of this year's or last year's JCB Literature Award, which is India's biggest literature award for another story of his.
And so you obviously came in as financiers, I assume, in some capacity.
That's correct. That's correct.
I mean, this is a Malayalam film, and the state of Kerala has a big film industry, and I understand a lot of it is financed from outside investors, a lot from the UAE, right? So there's a very strong connection there. How did you? So there was a short story, a script was written. Then how did you get the project off the ground? How did you put it together?
Thomas, I mean, he was the one. I think you can take that answer.
Yeah. See, actually, the story there, when Lijo shared the story, it was a bit challenging subject. Even Lijo was actually he didn't finalize how to proceed with the story. So we all were a part of this making the process in that, and it slowly Lijo used to tell us how how each and everything was evolving into shape, and how because how to the track. First we had Lijo had a plan of should we go for VFX, and if VFX is applied, will it give the originality, the original impression? And Kerala industry is a very small industry actually compared to the other Bollywood, everything in India. And so there also the cost involvement, if it is a VFX, if it has to be in such a magnitude, it is very high. But still, though, he wanted to keep it very original, to that the normal how the village things do, and it was Later, he something evolved something called animatronics, which the original bull was there, as well as there was few molds were created, and someone could go inside the mold and operate. And so we were all part in that slow process of the evolution of the project, and like it was a team and a dream come true actually. Once it was on the track, we started the track. Things were going very slow. It was not. It was very Lijo thing does things very easily, and the project evolved, and the team effort with the captain made all this thing possible. Captain Lijo made all this thing.
Yeah.
Glory, you can say.
I mean, clearly there is an incredible vision by the director there, but a lot of credit also has to be given to the cinematographer, Girish Gangadharan, because it's a visual feast. I mean, I heard that there were very few special effects in this film, and a lot of it, is naturally shot at night with all kinds of different lighting, and the richness and the lushness of the jungle. The way the camera moves is really incredible.
Yes, I mean, just to let you know that none of the scenes were shot actually in any jungle, or it was all in villages where it was the way they shot it made us feel that it is kind of an Amazonian feeling, which is actually thick jungle. So that's all Girish and Lijo's teamwork for you.
And from a technical perspective, there were a lot of long shots and tracking shots, and the camera moves with the people, with the bull. I mean, you're living it. It's like you're running with everybody. So there's this huge adrenaline rush watching this film.
I don't know whether you have actually had the chance to watch a previous movie of Lijo's called Angamali Diaries. It's actually on Netflix. So it again had Girish as a cinematographer, where they had this 11-minute single long shot at the climax, where he was actually running through between the crowd. It is amazing. So I think they have a penchant for the long shots.
Yeah, maybe his next movie will be one long shot. but so obviously the cinematography is a huge part of it, but also the music and the sound design, are step in step with the camera and the movement and the story, starting with those early scenes when everyone's waking up with the hum hum hum. And you get this kind of creepy feeling, and it just slowly builds. So the music and the score, another huge character in the film, wouldn't you agree?
That's right. Because Prashant Pillai, again, a longtime collaborator for Lijo's. He does most of the music for most of Lijo's movies. He was given only one mandate by Lijo this time: try to actually bring in natural human noises or animal sounds. So the team who actually made the most of the background sound, they were just using a cappella. They were normal people. They were not artists. So they were, most of the sounds they made by hitting their bodies with their shirts off and making sounds with their own voices. So G. It's all from Prashant's idea.
Yeah, no, and so, I mean, how many people worked on the film? There's some scenes where it seems like there are 1,000 people, running through the jungle.
Yeah, the last scenes around 1,500 people, were there. Last scenes, it was a major, like 1 week shooting, which such a huge crowd was, and it was controlled very everything with very ease and done very well.
And what about the giant human pyramid there at the end, where everyone's piling on top of everyone else? How did you do that?
So I think Lijo had this idea, and he was thinking of different ways to execute it. I mean, he didn't want special effects as much as possible. He wanted to avoid it as much as possible. So he actually built the pyramid, and then he actually had the bodies kept on it, And then he had some people actually climb on it. So it was a mix of everything.
And everybody was okay.
They all loved it. I mean, nobody expected the way it turned out in the screen. Everybody, including us, that's the difference between Lijo. Lijo visualized the whole thing in his mind before it came to the screen, and we were trying to catch up. We were trying to see, okay, I mean, this is what, but then on the screen we were blown away, especially the last scene.
Yeah, I heard he doesn't really storyboard, right? It just kind of that morning he wakes up and says, "This is what we're going to do."
Yeah, we don't, they don't do storyboards, but it's not random either. He knows exactly what they're gonna do next day, but they don't do storyboards. No, it's all out there.
And so the bull. So there's the live bull and there's the animatronic bull, which is kind of the jaws of the movie, if you will. How do you work with that animatronic bull? How do you make it move and do the things you want it to do?
There was an operator, who was actually part of the crew. So there like 4 or 5 molds were there, which was created exactly like the bull. Even the hair was stitched. Each hair was stitched on the mold. And in this two mold, there was like operator. The head could be turned with the liver inside. Someone can go inside. And it had a big weight, everything, but still someone can hold on to it, move the head, move the back of the bull, and someone has to run. So then the VFX was actually created on the movement for the legs and the turning of the eyes, eyes of the bull. This was where the VFX was actually added actually. And the operator, someone who was a part of the crew, he was actually operating it very easily, even though it's a very heavy, but he was very expert slowly. And that's how, the magic worked.
Right.
And just to add, we still have the original bull. Lijo has it near his house. He's
for the sequel.
He's
living happily with us. He's living happily with us.
Yeah. So I mean, I understand. Jallikattu is a real event. It's a bull taming event, sort of a sportsmanship event, and the Festival of Pongal, right, is coming up this week, and that's when this actually really takes place, right? In southern India, isn't there an event?
That's correct. That's correct. That's in Tamil Nadu, but the movie, actually, our movie has no connection with that event other than just the name. The Lijo chose the name only to signify people running behind the bull. That's it. Mm-hmm. So that has a completely cultural story behind that, and our movie is not connected that way.
Just by name, yeah, and
yeah, it's just because it's a very popular. Yeah, it's yeah.
Well, let's talk about all the messaging in the film. I mean, that's really the fascinating part. Human nature and men are beasts, and you get into a situation that brings out the worst in everybody, and how this slowly builds. So that is obviously a masterful screenplay that then the director executed. Talk about all the background thinking, all the messaging you wanted to do, and how the layers of the script came together.
So the Maoist, that is a short story, which is actually it's a short story about the bull. It has the central theme, what Lijo has taken, and he's expanded it into different layers to where we are watching it now. So Lijo actually wanted to portray the situation, what's happening in different countries, which is kind of a mob mentality, where people actually go behind a problem without actually understanding what the problem is. It might not be a problem at all. So like that, there is no need for people to run behind the bull in the movie, but it's just, that's how people are. They make a molehill, big problem out of a small issue. And if you notice that there is a guy who is actually hitting his wife for not cooking properly. So he's put in small pointers which actually defines the people who are right now selfish in their own courses and not treating others with respect and not understanding what the real issue is.
And a lot of the animosities, old relationships come back, right? I mean, when Kuttachan comes into town and a lot is relived from the past, all the bad baggage comes back.
That's correct.
So I mean, you have to like pay attention, I think, of the small stories. Otherwise, you could miss them. But they add a lot because they're peppered through the film in terms of flashbacks, and just add to the build that is about to come.
Correct.
So, I mean, the message is clear, and I think I heard Lijo say somewhere, you know, what he wants is to go back from darkness to light, and this film is trying to give the message: the world, this is the world like everything should be, right? Kind of going back to prior to this build and this violence. You know, I mean, coming here, speaking to you today from the United States, you can well imagine the chaos and violence we had here in our capital last week, and how relatable this really is. You know, this film could be interpreted in so many different ways and put into so many different arenas.
Imagine this movie watch actually came out in 2019 October. It was visualized in 2018 end. That's when the shooting started.
Mm-hmm.
But even now, an incident which happened last week in another country, which is thousands of miles away, it can connect to the movie. So it's actually a global theme, I believe.
It is a global theme, and yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
It happens in each corner of the world, and this is something which should not happen. That is a message.
Yeah, I mean, I would think, you know, it is a global theme, you know, but set very much in a local space, a local place. But since it is such a global theme, you know, I'm hoping that the film will resonate, you know, with a broader audience and get that attention. Because it is such a relatable story, especially right now. Like you were saying, this film was made before the world became what it is right now. And you know, it just so happens that it fits into what is happening in the world right now. So I would think it can travel well.
We hope that actually, like, you know, a lot of people watch it, not only for the Academy thing. I mean, we want people to watch it and see that this is what cinema is, right? It's trying to actually portray and connect to different people, different cultures.
Now, I know in the US, you know, it's been picked up by distributing it theatrically. It's already on Amazon Prime. Has the film traveled either to VOD platforms or theatrical releases in other parts of the world?
Yes, actually, it was showcased in theaters in India, the Middle East, a certain part of Europe, Australia, Singapore, but mostly catering to the local Indian diaspora. But there are some areas where, because of the film festival, it has been picked up in around more than 45 to 50 film festival across the world, from Lithuania to Finland to Norway to Australia to Paris, the whole place. Even smaller film festivals have picked it up, and because of that, there has been a lot of interest in the movie. It is doing very well in Indonesia, where we did not have a local distributor, but somehow the movie is doing really well on Amazon. Same way, it is actually doing pretty well in Finland as well, again on Amazon. So that way, yes, and it has been picked up by a distributor. Yeah, the UK as well. And recently, it has been picked up by a Japanese distributor, and because it did pretty well in Korea.
I was moderating a panel yesterday, you know, for Film Bazaar, which takes place in India next week. And Gunit Monga was on the panel, who I understand is helping you with the Oscar campaign here in the United States.
That's right. That's right. She's the
Uh,
EP attached to the movie because she's got more experience than all of us combined.
Yeah, no, I think
With this.
it's probably great for you to have her on board since she's been down this path before.
That's right. That's right.
So I understand you're both working with Lijo again on another project. Truly, I believe, is the name of it.
That's good. Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that film.
I mean, I don't know whether we are allowed to actually, because Lijo wants it to, because we are planning to release it ASAP the next, because the theaters have opened up in India. Lijo is trying to actually put it together, the final touches, so that it will be released in the next month or so. It is again, the meaning of Churli, the word Churli means the labyrinth. So it's like, as the name suggests, it's a story about that. And it, according to Lijo, it fits into, it's kind of a trilogy of his earlier movie called Imayo, Jallikattu, and Churli goes together as a trilogy. So I think he wants to let people watch it first before anything much is spoken about the movie.
Sure, understand. So,
But
aside from you two, the same team, Girish again as cinematographer, I assume, or?
No, it's actually produced by Lijo and Chemban. It's Chemban Vinod is actually one of the characters in Jallikattu, the guy who's the butcher.
The actor, yeah.
And then along with us, the cinematographer is actually a veteran in Kerala Malayalam movies called Madhu Nilakantan. He is it's come out very well. It's I don't know whether you had a chance to see the trailer. It's actually on YouTube. It's brilliantly done.
So talk a little bit about Mollywood, the Malayam film industry. It's growing. Is it, what do you see? How do you see it developing over the next few years?
Mollywood actually, along with the Bengali cinema, has always been in the forefront of Indian cinema in terms of content-related movies. You had Bollywood, you have Tamil cinema, you have Telugu movies. They were all grand, much more grander movies, much more bigger movies, much more larger audiences. But Bengali and Malayalam movies were always content-driven. And going forward, I believe it will be much more content-driven, especially because the younger generation is much more bolder in taking risks. There are a lot of good movies which unfortunately does not get the attention it deserves, but that is changing with the OTT platforms coming into picture, because that which is opening up the movies to much more larger, different geographical terrains, which we would never be able to showcase movies before.
So yeah, so I mean, obviously the OTT platforms are tremendously helpful in broadening local content on a global scale, and the film being on Prime Video opens up an audience you wouldn't have had ever before.
Yeah, there are a couple of other Malayalam movies which are really great. There is a movie called See You Soon, which was actually shot during the COVID times I think they shot it for less than $10,000. It has come out brilliantly. It's come out brilliantly. And it went straight to OTT.
By using mobile camera.
Yeah, I'm amazed, what you can do for really low budgets as compared to what we spend in the United States. I don't know what Jallikattu costs, but I'm sure if it was a Hollywood movie, it would have cost $100 million.
So yeah, I mean, Malayalam cinemas, like Lijo, unfortunately, Lijo, I don't think any producers have been able to do justice to Lijo's talent, because for his talent, if he's got the resources in terms of budget, I don't know what he'll actually pull off, because this was done at less than close to a $1.2 million. So, if it's a proper budget, Hollywood kind of budget, I don't know what Lijo can actually pull off.
Yeah, I mean, probably, the budget would triple, quadruple, if not go up 10 times. I mean, a lot of times when sort of foreign film directors do a masterpiece like Lijo just did, and then Hollywood calls and they come here, their next film, is costs 5 to 10 times as much. It's just because it's a different venue, a different industry, which I mean, I've been working in India mainly in Mumbai though, in Hindi language content, and I know a big budget film is 12, 15, 20 million US dollars, not much more than that. So it is always amazing what you can do on a smaller budget. So maybe you can just clarify a little bit the Oscar process in India, because this year we have your film. Last year it was Gully Boy, which is a Hindi film. The year before that was an Assamese film. Before that, a Tamil film. Essentially, these are all different film industries, really, in almost different countries, right? You've got your 22 languages in India and 29 territories. How does India as a whole decide this year it's going to be a film from this area and in this language? Can you explain the process?
Okay, so what happens is any movie can actually, it's the cutoff date is October 1st of every year. And any movie from any industry regionally in India can send in their movies to the authority who actually decides which movie should represent India. So we did it. There are a couple of other movies did it. So there will be multiple movies from Malayalam who will do it at a time. Multiple movies from Tamil will do it. Telugu will do it. So this time there were 27 movies from different languages. But they decided, the jury or the committee decided to go with Jallikattu this time. And it is not decided or based on any geographical terrain, or just because last time it was Hindi, this time no, that's not like how it is. They look at the movie as a movie and then go by what are the chances.
The jury, there is a special jury appointed, and they look into the selective process and they vote for it. The members vote for it. Something similar to the Oscar thing, and we were selected. We are also very surprised and happy.
Right. So I mean, so all the film, so anyone can submit, and then they're all thrown into a pot together, so to speak, and everyone on the jury who makes the decision watches all the films.
That's correct.
And only 27 films went in this year. I would think it would be, hundreds.
No, 27 were selected actually. It was selected, or around the finalist. Then
so
out
that's
of
the
that,
finals,
14
right?
movies. Yeah, out of that, again, 14 movies were selected. Then I think like seven movies or something. Then the final one was selected.
So it's amazing, yeah, to get selected. I mean, India is so prolific in how many films it produces every year.
That's right.
To kind of cut through the clutter.
That's true. That's true, actually.
Now this might be a crazy question, but a lot of films in India are kind of remade in Hindi after they do well in a local language. Do you see this film being remade in any way? Or even internationally?
We actually, before COVID, we were discussing with a couple of people, studios in Hollywood, to adapt this into a Western style series.
TV series?
Yeah, TV series. So because they found that people could connect into that. So it did not progress much further because of the COVID. Then it actually was, nothing happened after that. Similar way, there are interests from different languages, for example, Hindi, Tamil, all those people. Because as you rightly said, it's a global theme. I mean, everybody can work with this. It's just bull. It could be anything. The theme is
actually,
actually
right. You can substitute it with anything, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and Lijo would be okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I don't think Lijo is against anybody remaking it. We have never actually, he has not spoken anything against that either. It's okay. I don't think he is looking at making it in another language. He has not discussed with us anything about that. But I don't think any discussions have progressed about whether it's possible or not possible.
Well, that's very interesting. Yeah. So, you know, I think just getting back to the Oscar process here, you know, obviously Parasite was this big success last year, the Korean film. And, you know, we at the Asian World Film Festival are trying to promote all Asian films. And, you know, George will be the first to tell you there are 50 Asian countries so it's a huge part of the world. And the Asian films are typically underrepresented in the foreign language category, you know, mostly European films. So are you optimistic, you know, with an Asian film having won last year, that Asian films in general and Indian films, you know, will get better attention in this year and in years to come?
That's what we are hoping for, Rick, because as you rightly said, we are underrepresented as an Asian continent. I mean, we don't have much. If you look at other European and other countries, Asian movies, the number of movies which we actually make, if we're looking at that, our percentage is near to zero, actually. And because of Parasite, everybody is hoping, because it's a hope is what drives us all.
That's
and,
right.
Parasite, especially Parasite winning Best Picture, not only Best Foreign Language, it's winning Best Picture. Gives that, if it's a good movie, it's a good movie.
I agree. And, you know, content travels, and fortunately, content is traveling much better than it ever did before, you know, thanks to the streaming platforms, and people are open to seeing stories from all parts of the world. So it's refreshing. And, you know, I wish you the best of luck on this journey. And I'm crossing my fingers for Jallikattu. I would be thrilled
Thank you.
see it get into the next group of selected films, and you know, maybe even go all the way. So you know, thank you for your time and sharing your adventure and sharing this great movie, and all the best to you.
We hope all of
Thank
you
you,
like
Rick.
it, all the audience like it. Thank you, Rick. Thank you for your time.
Great, thanks so much.
Thank you,
And you know, you can watch the
you.
film on our platform at the Asian World Film Festival. So thanks so much, Thomas and Naushad. Great to meet you.
Same
Thank
here.
you, Rick. Same here.
Thanks.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.